Hello and welcome to Totally Oblivious. I'm your host, Caleb, the joke character, Perez. I'm here with co-host Alex Metas Pruneda.
Hold on, that actually sounded raw as fuck. Holy shit. That's a banger right there.
The banger
I'm
title.
Caleb, the joke character, Perez. That's raw. That's a raw title right there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, this is our podcast. For those of you first-time viewers for some reason.
Who are not watching the episodes chronologically?
Ugh.
Yes, you have to watch all the episodes in order to understand.
You need to know the lore.
You do.
Maybe.
What was that? What's moving?
Yeah, it's this little
you're
thing.
just, okay, you're fucking with
You're
it?
teeing down here.
Okay.
Me and my fidgety fingers finding things to fidget with.
Do you have ADHD?
No, of course not.
Do you think you have some type of mental illness? Actually, what do you call those? What is ADHD? What is ADHD classified as?
I don't know.
Because I feel like mental illness has like a whole like...
As a stigma.
Yeah. So what do you call that then?
I don't know. Because people do always call it mental illness, but that does have a stigma behind it.
Yeah, so it's just
So
like...
I don't know what the correct terminology for that is anymore.
I've been watching a lot of Red and Blu-ray lately just for funnies, and I wanted to pull a Griff right there and just start saying words from 2007 that are not appropriate. Watching old YouTube content is nuts because you're like, that's a no word.
Can't say that anymore.
Yeah, so
watching anything from the earlier 2000s is just like, man, you can't do any of that anymore.
have we gone weak as a society?
Have
we become too sensitive?
I think there's arguments for both sides. Because, like, sure, I get that, like, jokes are just jokes, but at the same time, some people would take those jokes and turn them into reality.
Stares at Hitler from across the room. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I think you're correct. It's maybe on both sides because I just saw a Twitter about Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever, and how some black lady or black dude, I don't know, there's black, started fucking role playing as one of the races or playing as one of the races that's just discriminated the fuck against, and she's like, not only do I have to deal with that at work, I also have to deal with it at game, and I'm just like
terrible, and
I'm like there's like a lot of people were agreeing with her, but I'm like, this is Twitter. There's been multiple cases of just because it has a whole bunch of likes doesn't mean you're right, and it's just like you chose to do this to yourself. Play the white character. You have that option.
I don't know if that's the correct mindset to have.
No, but that's what everybody. No, all like Mighty Keith was like that. He's like, you have the choice. Why are you doing this to yourself?
Choice.
And I was just all like she was kind of like, I don't know if it was taking it as a joke or like she was just venting, but it was just so fucking funny reading all the comments about that because I'm just all like, just make a new save file. Do something else.
Play a different game.
I don't know what to say. And then that brings up because eventually at one point I didn't really care for that shit. I'm just like, bro, just play a different save file. This is really that important. At one point I got into that thread and it's just all like, fantasy has racial stereotypes. I'm all like, dude, every fucking culture has racial stereotypes in their mythologies.
It's actually true.
So it's just like,
it's insane that is true.
It's just like ogres. Oh, black people. I'm like, it's probably more Jewish than actually black people, but it's just like they're everywhere, dog. Like, what do you want? You really think gnomes are just little guys in the forest? No, they're also probably a stereotype of somebody.
It's a stereotype of something. Somewhere.
It's just like, come on, dog. So it's just bad. It's just like I don't like you. It's everywhere. Racism is ingrained into society in its deepest core.
See, if this was a year ago, I'd know what you're talking about. But this is the age of X, where it's not Twitter anymore, so I don't look at it anymore.
Do you not actually scroll Twitter anymore?
Not really at all. I basically go to the following tab, look to see what you say on Twitter, and I'm like, all right, I saw Alex's tweet today that I felt like seeing. I'm not gonna scroll through Twitter anymore.
You know what? I only tweet like once or twice a day now.
Exactly. I see the one or two tweets that you put out at probably around noon when you wake up, and I'm like, all right, that's enough Twitter for today. I have nothing else
to look forward to on this app.
Desire to see.
No, Twitter
is basically my fact checker for if I decide to check TikTok, which TikTok I'm also checking less.
No, I've been recently just stopped tweeting. Like I'll make a joke if I don't know if I have like something to say or I get like really hyper fixated on something on Twitter, I'll tweet for like maybe at max like 10 tweets in a single day. Mm-hmm. But after that, nah. Like I just stop.
Yeah, honestly, social media has just become watch the podcast.
Watch the podcast. We've stopped liking the internet. I don't know. I'm going through a punk era right now, man.
I'm going through. I have no desire to interact with anybody other than people
in real life
I actually know and want to interact with.
Yeah. So you know,
which at the same time too, I never actually interacted with anybody other than people I followed on Twitter. So, or that followed me back too. So it really.
The cycle was just the same.
It's the same. It's just I decided not to use social media anymore.
No, man, it's weird. It's goofy.
Which is funny because I never wanted it in the first place.
It's just the cycle. It circles. It's just hate.
It is.
The internet is just a giant example of just hate in a circle continuing over dumb shit.
It really is, yeah.
What's the fucking joke? That's okay. This applies, but it's just I'll slightly change it. The fact that I have to see a 14-year-old's opinion on Twitter at any point in my day is harassment or something. The joke was like that. In my case, it's seeing a person give a really stupid fucking take that more stupid people like, so it appears more on my feed. I hate that shit. I'm like, oh my... And then I start muting words. I start muting words and people. The mute, arguably, I think the best ability on Twitter... Arguably better than the block button is mute. I never see them ever again. They get fucking banished to the shadow realm, dog. And I love it.
Is I think mute is more powerful than just a block because you like. I don't know. I don't really know why they're two separate things because they basically are the same.
Yeah,
like you just don't see it
at all. Like the algorithm completely wipes them away from your feed. It's just now, and then it gives the idea that, oh, that person still follows me, so they still might like me or whatever. Like that false idea. It's like sheep's. It's like a sheep in a wolf in sheep's clothing. There's the fucking line. So it's just all like, it's fucking funny, bro. Twitter's so dumb. Why are we talking about Twitter? What's today's topic? We were just ranting about the internet.
I had this idea.
What's the idea?
Since we're speaking of the internet, the thing that constantly is in and out of the circles of discussion, the snail,
the whore of the talking community.
It kind of is. Every year, I swear, this little thought discussion comes up every time. And didn't it just originate from the would you press the button?
No, I haven't learned about this.
What's the lore?
What are you telling me? What are we talking about here?
The snail. You know
the snail. We're gonna talk about the snail this episode.
What's the snail that kills you?
I do it.
Me too, but hold on. Wait, immortal snail. Do you know your meme? Thank you, know your meme website. Immortal snail, also known as the snail assassin, refers to the hypothetical scenario in which a person is given millions of dollars and made immortal in exchange for being hunted down by a snail with a fatal touch for the rest of their existence. So, yeah, it's basically it. You get like all the money in the world and you're immortal, but there's also going to be a snail chasing you till forever. Until it catches you.
This is easily probably like everybody overthinks it. Like, okay, I think there are a few variations of this, but I think the most common and most popular variation of the snail thing is the snail is also immortal and is unstoppable. You can't stop it. So it's an ever but it's still like a regular snail. The only thing is it's indestructible. That's all it is.
So like if you put it in a cup, it'll get out of the cup.
It'll either phase through the cup.
Phase through the cup. So
or like disintegrate through the cup. It can't be stopped, but it can't go through the planet because that'd be cheating.
So they've added multiple layers to this now.
Yeah. So this is the most popular version of it. The snail is indestructible and it can't be contained. So it just will basically get out of anywhere.
See, I more like the idea, not to just interrupt you, but I more like the idea that the snail, instead of it just phasing through, that it has such a will to get out that it is just always it's like Perry the platypus, always finds a way out of the trap.
Or it's just like it's like Doctor Who, where he just slowly, just like over millions of years, I'll just get through it at one point.
The snail is just that smart that it will always outthink you.
Okay, that's another variation I've seen, but more or less, if we just go with the most popular version of it, do you know how fast the snail moves?
Not fast.
0.03 miles per hour on average.
Mm-hmm. That's
I could travel halfway across the world, and it'd probably take it at least about 100 years to find me. Because what you're thinking is probably 0.03 miles on a flat surface. No, it has to go over rocks, roads, buildings, the ocean at one point, a boat, water, all of it to be like right in front of me, and I go, all right, I'm gonna take a plane to where I previously was, and then it becomes the tale of Sisyphus, where it's just forever having to go back and forth. That's what you all really could do. You could just get two houses, place them on the opposite ends of the world, and then just set up sensors to like. This doesn't break the rules of the snail game, where it's just like you can have sensors that dictate where the snail is at any time, and then once it's in the 50 feet of you, you can just all right. I'm going back to buttfuck middle of nowhere.
I go back to my other place.
And then now the snail has to go all the way back.
So in this scenario, does the snail have like a psychic bond to you that it always knows where you are?
Yes.
Or does it? Okay. So
yes, it always knows.
It doesn't have to sleuth to find you.
No, it always knows.
It always knows where you are. Okay.
Yes, it's almost omniscient. Where it'll just know where you're at all times. There's also other versions of it where it's also it's as smart as you are. So then it gets really funky. I've heard some people be like, so if you were like a fucking scientist, like an engineer, could you hypothetically say the snail could get a Gundam suit and then start trying to find you?
The snail could invent time travel to go back to the day you were born, and then insert itself inside you to the moment that you make the deal that the snail will kill you if it touches you, and it immediately kills you as soon as you get the money.
Exactly. That's another version of it. I think I'd do it because on the surface, like it'd be like, oh my god, I'm forever living in this torturous environment. Man, you think you're dumb as rocks. Just get two spots at the end of the earth and just get a helicopter, dog, or a airplane. You have billions of... Now, hold on. But I think the best version of it is you take away the money aspect of it. Now it becomes a challenge. Now it's on hard mode.
Yeah. Because now you're not Bruce Wayne getting away from the snail. You're just an average, ordinary person trying to figure out.
And I think still, even if saying it like that, I think you still could do it because you could full hobo this thing.
That's true, but you also wouldn't. So does the snail only have the psychic bond to you, or do you have the psychic bond to the snail too? Because I feel like
to make it fair, the snail is the only one that gets all the cool powers.
I feel like that was always the case. Is the snail knew where you were, but you don't know where the snail is.
Yeah.
So you could wake up one morning and you see the snail like creeping up next to your head on the pillow, and you're like, "Oh shoot, I gotta go." Yo, you almost got me that time.
See you in the next 100 years, biatch.
You fool. And then you pack absolutely nothing. You just leave.
I like the hypothetical. We should play a game of Would You Rather right now with the button.
The cat and mouse game of who will win, the snail or your everlasting life.
At one point, I'd probably give up. Because if you think about it,
yeah.
Because you could do so much, and like, here's the thing about being immortal. At one point, it's probably going to get depressing, and almost in a poetic way. And maybe somebody should write a short story about this. At the end of the universe, as the snail itself is indestructible,
and all things will end. Like, it's scientifically proven that the sun is going to explode one day, wipe out all life on Earth. Earth's just going to be gone. And someday, in the vast darkness of space, it's only going to be you and the snail. So at one point, you only have each other, which also brings the moral dilemma: does the snail even want to kill you at that point? Because then it's just you two alone in the universe. And if he kills you, he kills the only other person that is capable of keeping them company.
Okay, then that begs the question: is the snail necessarily evil then? Or does it play a neutral role as it's its only goal?
It seems like it's a neutral role. And if it's as smart as you, then once it gets to, like, it'll play its role until you two are the only ones left in the universe. And at that point, or maybe at some point before that, it will realize that it's only going to be you two left at one point. So its entire goal in life will be to make itself
it's just Sisyphus
alone.
He's just
or does the snail die as soon as it kills you? Is it trying to end its own suffering of having to live an immortal life by killing you? So at that point, you're kind of the villain of the snail story because you're keeping it alive as long as you selfishly want to be alive.
Oh my God, this is just Sisyphus. It's just
there's so many.
There's a moral dilemma here now because, like, at first you think, "Oh, the snail's dumb."
It's just a mindless snail, but when you add the layers of it's as smart as you are and that it's able to figure stuff out, then at some point it has to have some motives behind what it's doing. Like,
God, that'd be so fucking
depressing. Let's say this snail was a normal snail until you made that wish. Or you press the button, then the snail just gets bestowed upon it the knowledge of a human being.
Oh my God.
As a snail.
No, I think I've sent you the meme, or it's like, I've sent somebody these memes. It's like, insert whatever Lucy was, the monkey, the primate fossil, and the joke format is whatever species it is, creating the first fire. Been given the images of Adam and Eve as the bottom text is I forget his name, but he's some Mexican kid. His name's Gabriel or whatever, but it's just an edit of him like having like a eldritch horror like information being bestowed upon him. But the joke is like the ancestor of humans is like now been given the knowledge of what it will become and what it has done by unleashing this fire upon the tribe itself.
No.
So maybe in a sense it's that same thing. The snail now is as smart as you and realizes the only way it can properly die is by killing me. Mm-hmm. So now it's just like, I know all of this. It's more or less a human with a massive debuff on speed. And now it just is like, what does it do?
Because the snail will have to watch all of its loved ones die. And it just...
Are we the villain?
It's determined whether or not you actually care about any of that stuff on how much you are in the moral gray area or not. Because if you do care about watching all your friends and family die, then you'd live a full life with your millions of dollars and then be like, all right, I've lived long enough, it's time for me to go. But then there will be people who would want to abuse that and live forever and use their power abusively. And so that snail would then become the hero of the story. But if you're just trying to make a better life for yourself, then the snail's more of like an anti-hero who only just wants its own existence to end.
God, this is so deep. It gets deep for no reason.
I'm telling you, this is the craziest thing. It's just the snail story. This is why it keeps coming back.
Then what happens if you would make the snail hyper intelligent? Like it's just like it's the smartest thing.
It's smart. It's the smartest thing on the planet. That makes it even crazier because then the snail might spend its time making a machine to be able to kill you immediately.
That is I think it's more interesting when it's as smart as you.
Because if at that point the snail is the most smart thing in the universe, then it would, in like all honesty, the smartest thing it could do is spend all of its time to make something that will immediately kill you. Because either at some point you're just going to be tired of living and it'll psychically know that and come to kill you, or you'll be selfish and want to live forever, and then it has all the time in the universe to kill you.
God. What if it was... This feels like a biblical tale.
It kind of is.
Is the snail actually just... Is this the metaphorical, like, purpose of life eventually going to... It's death. It's just death. Is the snail just death?
The snail is kind of just death, because if you think about it, a person who lives a full life, and once they've done everything that a human could possibly desire to do in their life and experienced all the things like that they as a person would want to accomplish, at some point you're going to be like, all right, I'm done. But then there's people who just constantly want more and want more power, want to live forever. And at that point, the snail signifies that if you're that kind of person, at the end of the road, you're only going to be left with emptiness and, of course, death, the snail. Where as opposed to being a person.
It's like a life lesson. It's almost like it's not a fairy tale. What's the other version of it? What's the other like story thing that tells you? I forgot what it's called.
I forgot too. I don't know the word for it.
It's not life lesson. It's like a cautionary tale. There it is.
It's a cautionary tale of greed and power.
And almost in a weird way, it's like it symbolically represents life.
Yeah, because
the snail is death. It is literally the personification of death while you get to live your life. But instead of like the 80 so long years as a person you'd have, it's now magnified to the literal absolute maximum.
It's however long you want to, which in terms of life, because rich people have all the money in the world. Like all those billionaires, they can do whatever they want with their money. But it's whether or not you choose to do something actually fulfilling with it. Because at the end of the day, the money's the part that's important.
I think we should get a whole bunch of snails, make them immortal, have a death touch, and put them on every billionaire and see how good the planet gets. I have a shocking feeling if we put every snail on the planet on every billionaire, we're about to see some fun.
But at the same time, those people are selfish too. So they would also be using their funds like how everyone originally plans to stop themselves from dying. But nothing would be able to stop
the snail.
But they'd still put all their resources into delaying the inevitability of the snail coming to kill them. That's what people do. When they're selfish, they will put all their resources instead of like growing it to help others, they keep it for themselves to ensure their own fate doesn't happen. But fate is fate. It will always happen. Just like the snail. At some point in the universe, there's going to be nothing left but you and the snail.
The snail at one point will find you and will kill you.
And it really is a cautionary tale, because at some point, if you put all your mind into just being rich and having wealth, at some point at the end of the line, all you're going to have left is nothing. Death.
Is nothing.
Death will be the only thing that waits for you.
And the snail. It's so weird, because snails are just death.
Because if you live a life and die as a person how they should, you will be still surrounded by people that you care about, people that you knew throughout your life. Like I'd imagine at the end of my life, I'll have my family and my friends. Maybe Alex might die before me. I don't know. It depends. But I still think I'd be able to be surrounded by people I care about when I die. But if I were to become immortal, everyone else would die before me. I'd have to watch everyone die. And then at some point...
And then all the new friends you'd get would all die.
And then they would die, and then they would die. And then I'm really not really left with anything of value.
Here's a question. How long do you think the average person would be still sane if they were immortal? At what point do you think a person breaks?
Honestly, that's a really good
Because
question.
they're going to have to relive through all that pain again at some point. It'd be like, oh, my family's dead. I'll make a new family.
I guess it's
80 years later, they're dead.
It's like I said, this is just a moral compass on how much you actually care about other people.
Could the
Because a
snail...
selfish person will last until the universe explodes.
Until they realize they're in the wrong.
It's like the Lorax. He chopped down all the trees, and all he was left was an empty, smog-filled valley.
Poor random man in this scenario.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't have to be poor if they just make the right choice. They could just
die.
Use the money that they got from pressing the button and
live like for 80 years and be like, all right, deuces.
And then do good things with it too. They could do a lot with that money.
Cure hunger, fix climate change.
You could.
All in one go. That's like the greatest sacrifice you could do. There's a lot of things you could do. Depending on how you answer this might show what you are as a human being.
Because honestly, when you start digging deeper into the idea of this, it's just like you can only have so much of monetary value in the world before it's like none of it was worth it. Because at the end of the day, it's not about
who are you trying to please?
Yeah.
Because I think even then at the end of the day, it's just like, why do you want to become rich? Because there's even that idea. Why? Mm-hmm. What's the point? Because hobos are fine.
Yeah,
there's people out there with literally nothing, and they're fine.
Yeah.
So what it is about being rich that makes it all fucking glamorous and shit? Because if you look at it in the long run, if you last till the end of the universe, that money never fucking mattered. You could hypothetically burn through all of it. It'd take a few centuries, literally, because I'm assuming you got fucking Jeff Bezos money or somebody's money, and it'd just be like you will, because I'm assuming it doesn't refill, right?
I mean, you basically once you have a lot of money, once you have the money, you could just make infinite money.
That is also
because
true.
You just buy companies, invest in stuff, and then you just start getting income back.
God, it doesn't end. It doesn't never end.
That's where the moral dilemma comes in, because you will have
money,
everything you could ever want once you press this button. But will it really be worth it if at the end of the day, all that waits for you is emptiness and death? Because honestly, the entire point of life, I think, in my opinion, is to just make memories with people you care about, right?
Or just not be an asshole.
And that too. Hopefully both of those go hand in hand.
It's so weird. I think maybe how do I even say this? I think the most reasonable answer to give during the snail explanation, at least in my case, would be like live for 80 years, live to 100, and then be like, all right, everybody I know is dead. I've quite literally done.
Everyone you know dies everything. When you turn 100.
Well, I assume most people would die by then.
Well, most people you know currently, I guess.
Yeah. At that point, I'd be like, all right, maybe, at max, I'd probably be like 200 years old. I explore the world or do something, see everything the world has to offer, quite literally full Minecraft that bitch. And then eventually at one point, find the snail and be like, friend, I think it's time we end this game.
I more like the idea of this. Like, you show your perspective, just like you're living life, doing everything you ever desired. And then it cuts to the snail's perspective.
That's what I was just
like in the year 2105.
You know what makes this fucked up?
Hold on. So and the snail's like slithering behind you, and you're just sitting by the sunset on like a park bench. And the snail's like, why aren't you running? And you're like, I've done all I need to do. Our time has come.
Okay, here's another way to do this. What if you get reborn as the snail? and then you have to
become
find
the snail in someone else's life.
and you have to repeat it.
You have to live through the eyes of the snail.
What
now.
what if it's a cycle?
That's your punishment for pressing the button. Is you once the snail catches and kills you, you then also have to be the snail to somebody who pressed the button. And that's the only way you can finally die.
God, that'd make that. I wouldn't do it then.
That would make it even harder.
I wouldn't even do it.
Because you could be a good person, but then that doesn't mean the next person's going to be as good. They could wait until the universe explodes. And then you have to wait that long to die.
Oh my God, dude. That makes it so much.
You have to watch everyone no matter what at that point, you basically have to guarantee that you're watching everyone you love die.
You'd watch the universe die.
You would.
And
unless by chance the next person is also as morally obliged as you were.
And the cycle ends.
And the cycle would end for you, but not for that guy. Because then that guy has to hope that the next guy is as good morally sound as he is. But we all know that's not true, especially where on Reddit, where this likes to circle around it.
What happens?
You know how Redditors are. Selfish people.
Selfish people. Am I the asshole for banging my brother's wife?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think we need to do an entire episode just reading those off.
They're bad. Some of them are really bad.
Some of them are bad, but some of them are so funny.
It's just be like, I did this really bad thing. Am I an asshole? Yes.
Some of those also bring out the craziest moral dilemmas. Because you're like, are both of them terrible people?
The interesting case. Okay, you know what? Maybe that's an idea to bring up. When two people are in the wrong and you have to condemn one of them, who do you condemn?
You don't have to condemn is the thing. You don't have to condemn one. What should be happening is you equally spread the condemnation to both of them.
God, I love how you think like that, but our society is going to choose one of them and another one's going to get scot-free.
Because the thing is, in a lot more cases than people even realize, is both parties have done something
equally
wrong.
Bad, yeah.
Of course, somebody getting murdered on the street, of course the murderer is the problem.
Actually, it was the murderee. Why were you just there in the middle of the street?
Excuse me, why were you dressed like that going out at night as a woman? That's your fault.
Yeah, that's
like, how do you have that mentality? How do you think like that? How can you say it's a woman's fault for getting killed?
And I think I've seen that take before.
That happens too much.
I think I have.
That's insane. That's such an insane mindset to have.
And you know what? Just to add this, whoever says it's the woman's fault also needs to be checked.
They probably should, because
that's a bright red flag that you should be going.
That's a horrible mindset to have. Oh my God.
Why were you dressed like a hooker at the middle of night? I don't know. I was just getting back from the club, you fucking
How is
dumbass.
That anybody else's problem than the person who just decided to dress the way they want to dress? Why shouldn't they be able to dress how they want? How should that be anyone else's problem? How should that be an excuse that they got something terrible brought upon them?
Let me get offended for you, but in the case for the murderer.
It's just, I don't know how people think such insane things.
When you have 8 billion people, you're going to get some wild takes.
And it's always against women.
Always.
It's literally always against women.
Or gay men.
Or gay. Just anybody who just is trying to live their life.
Against serial killers in specific. It's really weird.
True. But also serial killers are terrible people.
Exactly. But then you also get well, he was gay. He's the Jeffrey Dahmer thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's stupid.
That's
equally
weird.
Stupid.
There's some fucking weird. It's fucking weird. Why are we weird? Not we, but like we as a species.
I mean,
God damn it!
There's
starting that fire.
There's too many times that I'm like, I don't feel like I'm a good person, But then people,
and then I'm reminded I'm a good
tell
person.
me I'm a good person, and I'm like, man, is the bar set that low that I look like a saint compared to the rest of the world? How low is the bar set? I don't think I'm a good person. I do the bare minimum.
And maybe that's all you need.
I do the bare minimum of human decency, and that's seen as being a golden hero.
Hold on. Here's a question I was thinking about the other day, and I kind of stumped myself because I was like, I don't know, I'm morally conflicted here. I guess this comes back to the snail topic too, or just the whole topic in general here. People are bad.
People suck.
Are humans evil off the bat? From the conception of their birth, are maybe even animals general, maybe all creatures, are they maybe by a human definition evil? Because I was driving home the other day and I was thinking to myself, maybe I was in the shower, I can't remember exactly, and I was just like, I don't know.
That's a good question, because animals don't have a moral compass. They'll just do whatever they need to survive. Mm-hmm. But does that make them evil?
That's what I was. No, but that's what I was thinking, because sometimes it's like some predators will just fuck up prey, and then not eat it and just walk away. And technically, you might be thinking, well, the animal's just stupid, but it's just like, no, it clearly did that for a reason, because there's been some cases where tigers will just kill a man because they pissed it off. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, I don't really know if the whole idea that nature is neutral is truly true. I think maybe now, because I'm explaining it like this, because since I have you to bounce it back off, I think maybe everything is naturally neutral, leaning towards evil.
I don't think that's true. I think everything is just neutral. And just some things with higher intelligence will either choose a path that's good or a path that's not good. But even then, at that point, what makes things good or not good? Because like a tiger killing a person, we would say that tiger killed a man and didn't eat him. That's bad. But people kill deer and don't eat them sometimes.
That's bad.
But they still do it. Some people would say that's not bad.
Those are the weird people we shunned, Caleb.
But some people would. Or a spider. You kill a spider and you don't eat it.
But it scared me.
Maybe the tiger just got scared of the person.
Well, the example in that tiger one was, I think the hunter had shot at him. Mm-hmm. And then it's just. I think because he was hunting him, and he was like, "Ah, fuck! I shot him. I don't know where he went." And the tiger was like, "I'm gonna track you down now."
I think that's morally justified on the tiger's part.
Yeah, it was something like that. But I think there's a lot of cases where that happens. But it's just like, I don't know. I sometimes think about these topics and I just go, I don't know, or I think I have an unpopular opinion, because I really do think it's neutral, leaning towards evil. Because I think in humans, I think it's because it's human perspective, where it's like, what is evil? Because maybe to a certain point, because I just thought about this, is selfishness evil? When like, how bad is selfishness when you like to a point? Because like, oh, the last piece of bread, nobody's around, I might as well eat it, because that's technically selfish of you. Yeah, because eventually somebody might show up and eat something.
You could give it to somebody who really does need it. You just have to go out of your way to find them.
Yeah, so it's just like, that one's not that bad. But then there's other cases of, I have, in the most extreme examples, billions of dollars that I'm not using. I should probably do something with this, right? And not spend it recklessly. And it's just like, we enter that weird gray area where it's like, it's technically your money, but there's so much money that you have that, or you should probably do something with it.
I guess,
and it should be good.
Here's a weird example. This is going to be a really off-putting for a lot of people. Have you ever seen the movie This Is the End?
No.
Okay, so that's about the end of the world. It's a comedy movie with Seth Rogen and James Franco. And in that movie, the rapture happens. and all Hollywood's actors get left on the earth.
Oh, thank God.
And in this movie, well, Paul Rudd gets left too, so I don't know how accurate that is, unless Paul Rudd's being a secreter. But in this movie, it kind of does bring about moral dilemmas, because all the main characters, pretty selfish in a way, but you can kind of put them on a gradient of how selfish they are. Because Danny McBride's character himself literally goes out of his way to use up all their resources
For himself?
Okay,
that's fucked up.
And that's like, yeah.
That's
bad.
on that scale of selfishness.
So like, he's clearly the worst,
Yeah.
and he becomes a cannibal at the end of the movie.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's kind of James Franco's character, who he tries to be good, but he also doesn't really care too much about anybody else around him, and he keeps food for himself and does a lot of stuff like that. And then Jonah Hill is just fake the whole movie. He acts like he's nice. He's not nice.
So he's an asshole.
I think he's closer to Danny McBride
Yeah.
and then there's like leaning neutral James Franco's character, and then Craig Robinson's character. I feel like Craig Robinson's character was actually the least selfish in that entire movie.
It's
For anyone who's seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Alex has no idea.
I have no idea, but I'm just putting them on the spectrum here. It's weird. It's like, I think there's probably, if we probably did look up or research into this, this probably is a debate that's lasted a long time. Is there ever like a true neutral? Is nature neutral in all regards? Because I can guarantee you there's probably like some studies out there of just animals being complete and other fucking dickheads. Maybe if it comes down to this, maybe here's another take that I might then start to agree with you. Maybe it's based on intelligence, how smart you are. Because like, if you think about it, maybe in some examples, a baby's dumb as a rock.
Yeah.
And
they do bad things sometimes.
Yeah. And like, but they don't know any better. They're just doing it out of survival. So it's like, they're not bad. They cry because it's like, I don't know how to use my phalanges.
Hungry.
Yeah. So it's just like, I understand.
Poopy.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
But then when you get to a fucking full grown man and they're acting like a child, and it's just like, you're kind of a dick.
It's like, there might be problems here.
Yeah, so it's like, it might be based on intelligence, and then if that's the case, then I do think there is a neutral status then, because if you're just an animal with the literal smarts of a literal toddler, then I can't be like, okay, you're a dick. But if it's like an apex predator swinging at people just to kill them, I'm like, okay, that I think is on the evil side of the spectrum.
See, I think maybe it's the verbiage you're using, that I don't think nature is naturally or like neutral leaning evil. I think it's like neutral leaning cruel. Like it's cruel, right? Because everything just needs to fight.
Scary.
Everything just needs to fight for survival, and it's not like in
Maybe
nature.
just survival is just the word to be using then.
In nature, at its core, everything just needs to live, and they're gonna go at any means necessary to live. And
I know. Cruel would be a better word.
Help their species to survive.
But then that begs the question: is cruel bad?
I don't think so. It depends, I guess, because leaning cruel is not always bad, but you do need on the other side where like,
can a hero be cruel?
Yes, but
would that make them bad?
Here's the idea I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Nature's cruel in the fact that a tiger could kill a
entire village or some bullshit.
They could kill a boy's mother.
Damn.
But a boy could also be raised by predators if they felt that it belonged in its pack. Nature just has a balance. There's going to be things that are like, that's not fair. Then there's also things that are like, it's a good thing that happened. Like nature tends to balance itself out at the end of the day.
That is true.
And I think that goes back to
does it go, okay, maybe this is the way we can look at it. Good, evil, middle is not neutral, it is cruel.
No,
but it's cruel out of
neutral is neutral, but there's not good and evil. There's just cruel.
So what's the opposite
and then
of cruel?
there's I guess whatever the opposite of cruel would be.
I'll Google it.
Okay, you Google it. Because that really is what it lies at. Because
does good and evil even exist?
Good and,
or is that just
good
a
and
human
evil's more of a human thing. Because humans have such a higher level of intelligence that we would be able to comprehend what is right and wrong. Because really good and evil is a matter of doing what's right for people or just acting upon selfish desires.
Either compassionate or merciful.
Merciful, I think is the better
merciful,
word.
yeah.
So nature's cruel or merciful or just a little bit in between.
I think merciful.
Out.
I think merciful is the better idea there.
Yeah.
Because it's like a tiger can choose to kill you or not. And if it doesn't, that's mercy. So I think maybe that's the better idea to say it. So okay, then that leads me to another question. Would only in the human world, I guess the concrete jungle, if you want to say it like that. I love that Predator tagline or like movie title. So does good and evil only apply to humans, or is it like a mixture of both?
Because like I was saying, humans are the only ones who have the comprehension of doing right or wrong by each other. And like, we understand that like torturing animals or torturing anything for that matter, that's cruel. So we shouldn't do that. It's better to, on the side of nature, to lean towards merciful than to be cruel. So, because like we have to kill for survival. That's a given. That's a given. But we could be merciful and end the thing's life fast. So like it doesn't have to play the role of a hunter. So yeah, you're a hunter in the forest. You have a gun, I guess, and you see a deer. You can either aim for a vital spot that will kill it immediately, or you can continue the hunt and just keep hitting it until eventually it just falls. Okay. That's the cruel way to do it. If you wait for a deer to bleed out, which a lot of hunters don't want that to happen.
No, they usually try to almost kill it immediately.
A good majority of hunters, I'd say about 99.9% of good hunters don't want the animal to suffer before it dies.
And if it does suffering, they feel bad afterwards. They're like, man, god damn it.
If you're a good hunter, then that's what you're going for. But then there's there's those billionaire people who go out in the African safari and they just kill because they want to, and they don't care about life.
Oh, that's fucked up.
They'd press the button, and they'd wait until the snail had to catch them at the end of the universe in the vast void of space. And the snail's like, look what you've done with your life. You're left with nothing but me.
Can I get the low tier god? Your life is meaningless. You should kill yourself now.
That really is what it comes down to.
What if low tier god is just God's way of just showing the good and the bad side of everything? There's the low tier god that just says kill yourself now, and on the other side is the low tier god that supports trans people, which is so fucking weird hearing.
No, I think that's more like there's the judgment in life, and then there's the acceptance in life.
I love
if you're a terrible person and do wrongs by people, you deserve to be judged. But also at the same time, if you're happy living your life, people should accept that. Unless you're a serial killer, then you fall into the judgment.
I thought that was a given.
Should be. To some, that it's not.
This is a very philosophical episode.
It is. And all we're talking about is a meme.
I think, okay, this is something I'm very big into. I think memes are actually subconsciously to people, their thoughts put into a joke.
Yeah.
Like, no, but not like in the joke sense where the joke has meaning. No, the meme itself is just actually philosophy, but it's disguised for something else.
In a lot of cases, memes are just art revisioned.
I think memes are art. I think that's a pretty base take. Because, we should probably pay our respects. Cheems died.
Cheems did die.
Yeah, fuck, man. Fuck cancer.
Terrible.
And they put her in a little, I think it's a her. Because
Cheems is Cheems.
Like the
matter.
the dog itself. I think
Doesn't.
it was I think she was a girl.
It was a girl though.
I think both Doge and Cheems are girls, which is weird thinking about. But yeah, no, pay respects to my funny yellow dog, man.
Cheems and Doge.
Doge isn't dead yet though.
Doge is still alive?
She's still fucking kicking. She's fucking ancient in dog years.
Wow.
I'm shocked she's still kicking.
Good.
She's all Doge, like gray now. Her bright yellow color is gone. It's like she's white and then like a different, a paler yellow. I'm shocked. And she has the old lady look. She's like,
Good for Doge. But also, rest in peace, Cheems.
Rest in peace, Cheems. Rest in peace. Fucking homie right there. Mm-hmm. Still have my Discord laid out for Cheems. It's just this. I think I'm going to be sad every time I look at that silly dog.
Yeah. When animals die, it's very sad. Like, it's not a lie. When an animal dies in a movie, that's usually the saddest part of the movie.
Why do you think that? Why do you? Okay, here's an idea. Maybe this is a. I like questioning you and hearing your answers. I've noticed that about me. I like to ask questions because I think too much to myself and I get crazy. Anyway, why do you think people get so attached to animals?
I think it kind of goes back to what I was explaining before, because nature, at its core, it's not good or evil. It's merciful or cruel. But
those are inherently bad.
Which animals at that point are just kind of innocent in all of this.
So are you saying we look at animals as children?
Kind of, yeah. Cause
even if they're fully grown apex predators.
Look at a dog. A dog is always just kind of like they need you to survive. Their entire existence revolves around a person and just being happy to see another person. So when a dog dies, that's like the happiness being taken.
That is true.
Because it's like when children die too. Children dying is very sad.
I'd argue dogs are worse. Let's get into that topic.
Either way, though, it's like
it's still fucked
that's
up.
Innocence just getting taken, and that's the saddest thing. Is I think as people we're constantly just trying to find that innocence, and if we see something innocent be destroyed, it's like kind of brings down our spirits.
Humans are very complex.
Yeah, because when you think of a dog dying, I think one of the most iconic scenes from a movie is in I Am Legend when he has to kill his dog.
So sad.
It is, because like that was his only companion, and that's
and
like
does he stab her or what does he do?
Suffocates it.
That's right.
Like that's his only companion in the movie. You see the puppy. You see it as a puppy at the very beginning
of the movie,
and then it's like his only family left. And it still maintains that innocence because it's a dog. Mm-hmm. But then that innocence is taken away by the zombie outbreak. And it's like, you're with Will Smith at that point. You're like, man, there's no hope in this world.
Depending on which version of the movie you watch. I think the canon one is him sacrificing himself. Yeah. I think that's the one.
Yeah. That's the only one I know.
There's another one where he dies and he fails. That's another one. It's in the DVD, whatever. My dad had them. I think I have that movie. It's somewhere in a fucking box. But do you think the reason why people try to go find innocence in things is because they've lost the innocence and that's how they try to find it back?
Yeah.
Because I watched a video on that. There used to be this old YouTube video of a group of rebellious teenagers. This is animated, going into a pool. I don't know if you've watched it. It's a music video, and in the pool scene, these teenagers start partaking in drugs, alcohol, and softcore porn activities. And this is early days of YouTube, so I knew why it flew. And at one point, it starts becoming like eldritch monsters. Like it was that started kicking in. It's like, oh, sins. They turn into creatures of like that aren't innocent. They're monsters. So it's just like how the person was describing the music video after years later seeing that. It's like the entire purpose of why that video existing is to And the original animator and music guy who made the music for the video was supposed to quite literally take the innocence away from kids who accidentally stumbled upon the video. And then like the guy was like, yeah, that's the point. So it's just like this weird meta commentary on kids will eventually lose their innocence and they will always try to reclaim it back somehow after losing it. And then also people just trying to take away the innocence.
Yeah.
So it's just like, ever since I watched that essay video, it's not very long, it's like 5 minutes. I'm like, damn. Maybe I do just want to be frolicking in flowers in a 5-year-old state.
Maybe I just want to be happy playing with animals in a forest, or maybe in a little barnyard, have ducks and chickens and little kittens running around and just enjoying my life. But life isn't always puppies and kittens.
Fucking sucks.
I think the important thing in life is to appreciate the days that it is puppies and kittens.
And what a fucking day that will be.
Yeah. Well, it's not. If it hasn't happened yet, I feel bad for you. But
I've definitely had
definitely
moments.
puppies and kittens days. Not literal puppies and kittens. I don't know if that's what you're thinking, but
I would like literal puppies and kittens. That'd be nice.
True.
I'd have to take a Claritin before touching either of those animals.
Alex
a gerbil would
die.
work.
Just life's crazy.
It's
When
weird.
you really think about it.
I don't think a snail would bring us down the moral compass road today.
Well, like we said, when you dig deep, it really is just a moral question. Are you satisfied?
Well, if the snail is somebody else trying to live, I'm going to be like, all right, you're going to live for...
It changes it if it's an actual like human being trapped inside of the snail.
Yeah. I'd be like, all right, I'll live to like 80 with all this money and then I'll dip, dog.
But do you know that?
No. Now that if it ever does happen to me after this point, I will probably say that to the snail. But if I didn't, I'd probably at most would be like living to like 200. Then I'll dip.
I think regardless, I think once you start getting to the point where you're like, everyone I know's dying.
Yeah.
It'd be like, why even live? Why continue? Because at some point, like I said, you will experience everything you want to experience. Like there's so much in the world that like it's impossible to experience everything in the world, but as a person, there's just things that only you want to experience. You're not going to want to experience every single thing that the world has to offer because there's no point. Life is the one game that you cannot completionist because there's
you
no
can't
point.
speed run it. You can't win it.
You can't speed run. You can't completionist. You have to do the things that make you happy in life.
I don't think there's winning life. There's no win.
There is.
I don't think there is.
The winning endpoint is doing the things that made you happy in life. Because I think that's the one thing that a lot of old people that I've talked to have always said, that the ones that are ready to die have everything they could have ever wanted.
All the ones I talk to always have regrets. So we clearly be different old people.
Them personally, like everyone will end the day wishing that they did something different with their lives. But like what matters is if you spent your days doing things that actually mattered to you. Like my grandparents, for example. I think my dad's parents spend a lot of time talking about that they're ready to just die. They're like, God, please take us. We're done. But it's like, they have what they want. They got to see their kids grow, and they got to watch their grandchildren grow. Now they're great grandchildren. Now they're great grandchild.
I'm done. Can I leave?
I think in a lot of ways that's what made them happy. And they lived a successful life monetarily and.
I think it's different for
relations.
I think it's different through every scenario, though.
Yeah, I think. Well, like I said, everybody has their own goals.
Yeah. And I think maybe in some cases, I think there's some people out there who probably live successful lives, but never was able to get the final fruit they want.
Yeah.
It's like, it's bittersweet endings. I think if anything, I'd actually argue around the world, it'd probably be a majority bittersweet. Not a bad ending or a good ending. It's probably bittersweet. Like, yeah, I did all the things I wanted to do, but there's other things I potentially wanted to do that I never ended up doing.
Here's one, for example. Chadwick Boseman. I'd say that's a little bit of a bittersweet ending.
Yeah.
Because he lived a good life and he was a good person, but he just died.
Was it skin cancer? What was it? Did he have?
I think it was liver cancer.
It was something. It was
definitely cancer though.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it sucks that he's dead. He was a good guy, but like at the same time, he was a really good guy, and
he just got fucked up.
I'm trying to remember the quote, but it's like, it's not the journey. It's the people you meet along the way, or it's not the destination. It's the friends you make along the way.
Yeah, it's that one.
It's a lot like that.
Yeah.
Just in general, it's not about reaching death. It's about all the stuff you do in between the
start and end, between points A and B. Life. No, yeah.
If you fill your life with just great moments, and sometimes you won't have great moments, but life is just all about making the best of things.
You know what? Almost in a way, and this is really weird connecting back into this. I don't know. I've been getting into like I said in the beginning of the podcast, I've been getting into a lot of like a punky mood, like just. I don't like society, the current society and corporations.
Society sucks.
But in Cyberpunk, there is that moral dilemma of you only have a few months to live. What are you going to do? And when I was presented to that playing the character, I was all like, well, and I don't know, maybe I just got hyper fixated or it was a perfect storm. Mm-hmm. Playing the character V, I'm all like, fuck it. I'm going to do all the missions and try to give V the best life before his possible inevitable death. It's like somewhat ambiguous. There are probably ways he can live, but they're not explained within the universe. It's just that's what I'll say for that. Not to spoil anybody, but it's like, I think when you're given a due date, and maybe even like Red Dead can answer that question too, is when you're given a due date, you all of a sudden now filter out all the bullshit and be like, that's what I need to do. Mm-hmm. So I think it makes it a lot better when you have the time and the due date of your life. It's like shit then clicks. I feel like maybe if people had a due date, like this is what your DNA says, go fucking live. I think people would live honestly better lives. Just because it's so random and so long, I feel like that's where people fuck up.
At the same time, though, a lot of people will just panic and just.
That is true. That is also true.
Really, it doesn't matter how much time you're given. It's just, I've always heard just live every day like your last. You just gotta treat every day special.
Yeah, it's weird. Being a human's weird. I don't like to think. Sometimes thinking's scary. I don't like it.
This is why we got goofy episodes, and then we got not goofy episodes.
Can we go back to a goofy episode? I don't like to think.
Next week might be a goofy episode.
I hope it's a fucking
I have an idea for it.
I want a goofy episode.
It depends on how philosophical we get on that one, too.
It's weird, bro. It honestly is. And I don't get why life is so cruel.
It's just the way things are. Everything has balance.
And it's so weird. That's how the universe works.
Nature has balance. Things are going to be cruel or things are going to be merciful. You'll experience both. But the difference is people. People aren't always going to abide by nature. And that's where it becomes.
That's where the snail shows up.
That's where the snail shows up and truly shows who people are.
Is the snail God?
The snail is not God.
Is it an embodiment of him?
No.
I feel like that's what it feels like to me.
The snail is just a metaphor.
A metaphor for what?
If we just explained, it's a metaphor for life. It's a metaphor for the morality of a person.
I feel like it's a lot more than just that. I feel like there's layers to it. It's like an onion. It's like an ogre. Like to me, the snail is death, but like death in a good way. It's just like, are you ready? Have you lived your life to the point where it's fine now, so I can die? So it's just, I don't know. More than 11 times.
You think the snail holds your life in its hands or in its slime, but in reality, you hold the snail's life.
Yeah, but you also have to remember the snail can always show up eventually. Sometimes you could get careless, and it's just like, I'm at your front door. It's like, fuck.
Yeah. And just like death, so if you aren't careful, if you're not living every day
Hold on, wait.
to its
I
fullest.
do have one funny for this entire video. If you really did get fucking accidentally snuck up on by the snail, you kind of fucking suck at the game. I'm not gonna lie, dog.
That's a skill issue.
Yeah. What are you, a nerd? Or what are you, a loser? You bottom fragging on the bottom of the board?
You lost to the snail? You didn't live your life to the fullest and you let the snail kill you? What are you, stupid?
Are you dumb?
Idiot? Dumb?
Are you dumb?
Fool?
Fool!
Can't believe it. Couldn't be me.
Couldn't be me, bro. I'm gonna live at max 200 years, minimum 80.
Insane.
Well, I like to go explore. That's one thing I'd like to do. I'd like to just go to Antarctica in like cargo pants and a shirt and be like, it's cold out here, but I'm fine.
I guess, but at the same time, I feel like I don't need 200 years to do that. I feel like I could do that.
Oh, no, I get really immersed in places.
I feel like once I have so much money that like I can do everything I want to do within a normal human's lifetime.
No, I think that's the difference between us. I really like to get immersed in things and just spend a lot of time doing it.
You'd spend like 20 years in Antarctica.
Oh, okay, not Antarctica, maybe like a year, but like I'd be like in the middle of rural China, just being like, I have a family now. I'm like, I'm 150, and I'm figuring out so many different things about this place. So this is my 6th family. The last 2 died of malaria. I was in Africa. Or some bullshit like that. I don't fucking know. Or being out in the middle of Africa just playing caveman or tribe man. Just out there for like 15 years or something. I'd do that.
You just live in the wilderness of every single continent.
See, now I want to do that. Now it's 250 years. And you're making the snail worse for it now.
See, but I guess your poor snail, my snail would be like, you're already ready? I'm like, yeah, I did what I want to do.
It's weird. I don't want to say I'm a completionist, but I just want to explore and just be like, all right, it's all boring now. Take me.
Because, I don't know, because like I was saying before, there's just things in life that me personally, I don't care to experience.
And that's what makes everybody special.
Exactly. And that, I think, is a good way to end off this episode.
Also, since I'm immortal, I would like to fight a lion.
I feel like that takes away the fun, though.
Yeah, but like at one point, if I like have like a massive wound on my chest, I'm like, all right, hold on, stop. Lion, what the fuck? I lost. I want to go in that direction. I clearly wasn't ready. I'll be back in like 10 years.
I wasn't going to win that one.
Yeah. It's like I Wolverine regenerate. Okay, I'll dip.
Do you take damage if you're immortal?
I think you have Deadpool levels of regeneration. You can be atomized, but then you'll just come back. Yeah. Even if you're like deleted, you'll just respawn somewhere. You'll respawn back at the hospital as you
respawn at your bed.
I think the hospital's where you respawn, but the bed would also be funny too.
That would make it funny.
Does a cool sound effect happen? And we go.
It's just
me giving Caleb items in Minecraft. Well, are those going to be uploaded by the time we talk about this, or that's the spoilers?
Maybe. Who knows?
Dude, we have like 6 episodes.
Depends on how much I feel like actually working.
We have like 6 episodes ready.
When is this will come out?
Next week?
28th.
Yeah.
There may or may not be one out. But there should definitely be one out by September.
Yes. Or you can just make a compilation of all the things we've done.
That's too much work. And I can't milk the content.
Fair. The snail waiting to be milked.
What?
See, I had a brain fart there. I was being like the snail waiting outside your house while you milk your content. It's like, you done yet?
Snail waiting to be milked.
Milking a cow. I'd like to do that.
And you can do that in your lifetime. You
One
literally live in rural
All right, hold
America.
on. Random Alex question. We haven't had an Alex question this whole episode. Would you drink from the udder?
No, that's terrible for you.
Is it actually?
Yeah, untreated milk will get you sick.
Then how did people drink milk before?
They got sick.
But then it clearly became... I gotta Google that for later. That actually sounds very interesting.
They actually... I learned the history behind this. I don't remember how, but they didn't pasteurize milk. And as time went on, the milk was going really bad, really fast. And people were just kept getting sick and sick and sick. Mm-hmm. And then eventually they came up with the process to like boil it and make it so some of the bacteria left the milk. And then people stopped getting sick. Who would have thought? Getting rid of bacteria makes you not sick.
Okay, we gotta give them the benefit of the doubt. They don't know that existed until probably that moment.
They're like, wait a minute. But I feel like for the most part, people didn't really drink milk. Though.
Okay,
They more made it into cheese.
It's the other way around. It's bad for the cow, not you.
To drink straight from the udder?
Yeah.
Well,
your mouth bacteria is harmful to the cow, not the other way around.
Well, I mean, I meant just the milk itself is also bad for you, though.
Hold on.
You can't drink raw milk.
I think that goes against most of human history then.
Well, there's a reason why people pasteurize milk now. There's a reason why that it was banned from being sold for the longest time.
From the udder.
I think you're thinking of people using cows and milk as a more modern thing. People, like I was saying, people used it to make cheese. And cheese is completely different than milk.
Let's go to Reddit. Guys, be some fucking cowboy.
Oh my gosh, Alex, you're supposed to end the episode.
You can end the episode. I'm just going to Google this in the background.
Okay, fine. Find out next week on what Alex finds out on raw, unpasteurized milk. I'd ask him what his final comments is, but he's clearly...
I'm infatuated.
He's infatuated by the milk. So all I gotta say is like, comment, and subscribe. Share the podcast as much as you can. A lot. Or else the snail will come find you and you won't get the money or the immortality. It will kill you for fun. That's basically it for me. See you next week. Peace out.